Hello! Hello, I'm Dan.
Merry Christmas, I'm Simon.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random Christmassy article each week, and we talk about what we find. Simon, what Christmassy article are we talking about this week?
This week, Dan, we're talking about Christmas, parentheses, surname.
Ah.
Yeah, right?
Oh, wow. So that's quite a good one.
So this isn't completely incredible chance. We did do what we did for our Halloween special, and we have looked within the Christmas category on Wikipedia, and we selected a random article. We've got Christmas surname. It opens with, Christmas is a fairly uncommon surname.
Yeah, it's fair to say.
I don't think I could name... There is a large list of people here with the name, but I can't think off the top of my head of anyone who's got the surname of Christmas.
I think I actually know someone whose last name is Christmas.
I know someone whose name is Santa because they were born on December 25th. But so that's like the first name version, I suppose. But yes.
There's a guy in my year whose name is Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, his first name's even better, but I'm not going to say them both because, privacy.
Where's he from?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Like, is he British, or is it... Because, I don't know.
He's from Kent.
Ah, they do strange things over in Kent. Some weird counties. So the article kicks off with, Christmas is a fairly uncommon surname, which is sometimes said to have been a by-name given to a person born at Christmas. However, others dispute this interpretation. A few hundred years ago, the English language had no fast system of spelling rules. When literacy was still uncommon, spelling variations were often found in surnames with Anglo-Saxon origins, which are transcribed-based. What? I think that might be someone whose English isn't their first language.
Yeah,
has written this. Words were transcribed using their pronunciation when names are listed in public records. The byname was spelled Christimas in 1185 and 1191, and that's Christemas. Christimas.
Oh, as in Sir Christmas. Noel.
Yeah, presumably. And Christesmesse in 1308, and that's Christesmesse.
Like the German.
Yeah, like more of a German kind of thing.
Yeah.
The name is principally found in Essex and Sussex counties, where some records suggest they held a family seat from ancient times.
Wow.
But did their feet? That's the question.
Absolutely, yeah. Very good.
It says here, actually, on the religious theme, at least 50... parentheses 50. What is this article? Women called Mary have married a man with the surname of Christmas over the past 170 years to become Merry Christmas.
Wow. Very good.
I love that they felt the need to include that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
In December 2012, Living Mrs. Merry Christmas from Hull, England, was featured online as a woman with a year-round Yuletide spirit. She is a wife to a certain Leroy Christmas.
Oh my God. Leroy
Christmas!
That's amazing.
The earliest known record of a Merry Christmas was discovered in 1837 when Mary Cannon married a Mr. Christmas in Alton, Hampshire, and, quote, set ourselves up for years of festive ribbing.
Whoa. Easy, Mary. Take it easy.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I had low hopes for this article. I really did, but that's killed me.
It's got legs.
Like, the fact that also this... I'm pretty sure this is written by someone whose English isn't their first language. The fact that it's in Anglo-Saxon origins, which are transcribed-based, and at least 50, brackets, 50, women.
Yeah. Thanks for the clarification there.
Incredible. I mean, we're releasing this just before Christmas. We are in full Christmas mood at the moment.
We are.
I mean,
both mode and mood.
Yep, Christmas fashion. I mean, I can't escape Christmas music at the moment, partly of my own design because I keep playing the bloody stuff, and presumably for you because you can't stop singing the bloody stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been pretty full on. I do actually, much to my delight, have I have this week off from Evensong. It's just it's just lay vicars, which gives me a little bit more time. I still have some other choirs around, which means I can't go home, sadly. But I get to have a little bit of downtime. So
yeah, I mean, is next week quite busy then?
Yes, it's just ludicrous. Everything. We've got Grandison, which is the big Christmas Eve service, and Christmas Day service rather. Yeah, it's colossal. St Peter's Singers, which is the other choir that sings with Exeter Cathedral, we're doing a recorded carol concert for the BBC. I'll have you know, this evening, in fact.
Wow.
So when a link to that comes out, we'll pop it on the Wikicast Facebook page and things, so you can have a listen. We're quite good. That's quite fun. I'm currently gazing at my tree. That's not a euphemism. I mean the Christmas tree in my my
look
room.
at those thick branches.
Yeah.
You're
Girthy.
dropping needles again, Dan.
I know. Well, it's common at this time of year. It's cold. So the my tree in question is lovingly bedecked with assorted IKEA baubles. There's a little felt Christmas gremlin who's sitting on the top of the tree, who was my favourite thing.
That's an angel, Dan.
Well, this is really a gremlin. I will take a photo and send it to you after this podcast's done. But he's quite funny. There's a duck, a felt duck on there.
Aww.
There's a load of dried segments of orange because I got all artsy craftsy the other day.
Oh, did you dry them out in the oven?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. And I've also stuck some cinnamon sticks onto the backs of them. And I've positioned the orange segments in front of fairy lights such that a kind of stained glass effect.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really quite lovely. And then the rest of the tree is covered in Cadbury's chocolate and condoms. So, okay.
Have a merry but safe Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, hey, safety first.
I just realised something. You didn't give me the Theo chocolate, you absolute bastard.
Oh, I forgot. Oh,
You did.
No.
It's partly my fault. I should have reminded you, but
I should have brought it when I brought your thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
I'm sorry.
we have seen each other this past week because I came down and I finally graduated. I am done with university forever.
That's it.
Well,
He's
maybe
done.
not forever, but for now. And yeah, we actually got to hang out in person, which was delightful. It was
As ever.
It was a fun experience because the way that Exeter graduations work is, you have the ceremony and that's the formal bit, but then afterwards everyone troops out and the covered street, which is in the middle of the university, in the forum, is just full of people celebrating, and there's free cupcakes and an ungodly amount of alcohol. Like we were stood with my parents and Pixel Girl next to the table of fizzy wine.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's something like each graduate for the graduation period. I know in July, which is because there's more ceremonies, they spend about 25 grand on booze.
It's a lot, yeah, and it's lovely. It's a really, really nice sort of way of celebrating. And then after that, we went out for drinks in the evening, which was
did indeed.
Which was fun. We went to what used to be an Australian themed pub, but is now
Yes, it was.
It's the Exonian,
Yeah.
which is a sort of a sports pub, which was incredibly cheap, and I'd highly recommend it to basically anybody.
Yeah, it was good fun, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
You had I got you a custom bespoke.
Yes. What was special
cocktail.
about it, Dan?
Well, it was basically a glorified Jaeger bomb, wasn't it? However, the title was Dr. Meister, and I thought, well, given today's proceedings, it would be rude not to get it for you.
It was horrid, I won't lie.
Yeah, it was foul.
I gave some to you and you were like, oh no, that's not going out well.
It was Dr. Pepper, Jägermeister, lime,
And cola.
served in a can. Yeah, served with cola bottles.
Now, we
chewy,
both
gummy.
said something very stupid, but they were different things. Do you remember? Because
yeah.
I was like, because all these drinks were called tinnies, and I was like, oh, what are they called tinnies? And you just looked at me and they're like, they're served in a can, Simon. And then afterwards, you were like, I wonder why it's called Dr. Meister. Because it's in a Dr. Pepper tinny, Dan.
Yeah. It's safe to say we weren't firing on all cylinders by that point.
I certainly wasn't on the morning after, or the morning after that, because you only graduate for the PhD once, well, most people anyway. And so we Pixel Girl and I had another round of celebrations with various chapel choir people after a concert, which we went to, which was delightful. I
heard that was particularly intense.
Yeah, the concert was good, actually. It was a Cuddly Salterton male voice choir, accompanied by Exeter University Chapel Choir, and the Chapel Choir actually made it through all of the Sandstrom Essenstein's... actually, it's not Essenstein Rosensprungen, isn't it? It's a slightly different one.
I think it's just Essenstein Rose, isn't it?
Yeah, but the text is slightly different. Yeah, der en Ross Utsprungen.
Lovely.
It's because it's in... Oh, God, is it Swedish? I'm not actually sure. Is it? Yeah, Swedish, because it's his reversion. But yeah, they actually made it through without anybody fainting this time. Because fun fact, that was what happened in the 9 Lessons and Carols service on campus. One of the scholars, because I've seen the video now. Michael showed me the video of the service. He handled that so professionally. Normally we take the piss out of Michael like relentlessly, but I was so impressed.
Yeah, he smashed it.
Like basically, for those imagine this, there's a choir and then there's also a semi-chorus, so it's a bit more complicated than normal. There's 4 scholars in the middle of the chapel. Everyone else is in the stalls singing. One of the girls in the stalls basically starts swaying and is clearly about to like faint and smash her head. Michael continues conducting, moves over to the side, sits her down, asks if she's okay. It's very clear that she's not. Then goes back to the middle of the chapel, brings everybody to a finish, like stops the piece, tells everyone to sit down in the same motion, and then goes and takes her out of the chapel. And I was just like, mate, you smashed that.
It was very professional. It was good. Very,
very good. It's a shame though, because it's one of my favourite pieces of music, and it's just a shame that they didn't finish the whole thing.
Yeah, it's stunning.
But the concert was good. Although Pixel Girl and I paid about £40 to go to it because we missed our train, paid for returns to Exmouth where the concert was, which was a tenner, and then missed our train by about 30 seconds, and then had to get a taxi there, which it was worth it. It was worth it. I'm very glad that we went, and I'm very glad we went out for drinks afterwards because we didn't get back in until about 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's quite funny because some members of the chapel choir, not to name any names, stayed out very, very late, and I don't know whether they forgot or they thought they could handle having to be up the next morning. The reason I didn't come out was because I had mass the next morning. I had to be at rehearsal for 9 a.m. for a 10 o'clock service, and it's safe to say that some people. They made it to the service, didn't quite make it to the rehearsal, and weren't particularly useful, let's say. I think there were like 3 people who ran in as we were all rehearsing in the stalls, and what they didn't realise was Tim Noon was singing with us that day.
Oh,
so Tim was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just going to go and bollock these 2 scholars, and then we're good to go." Whereas I was very sensible. Had a very early night.
Of course.
So it was good. And then I bumped into you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Later that day.
It was very... I thought it was very funny anyway, because you were with somebody in Fat Face, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And I noticed you way before you noticed me, and I was wearing my gigantic grey hoodie, which makes me look enormous. Like I look like a mountain in this thing. And Dan, for those of you who maybe are not aware, is a very small man. He has the body of a bird, and his friend were looking at something, and you were being all charming and just like yourself, and you kind of slowly turned to me, and all you saw was this guy, this humongous guy, eyes wide open, staring at you and emitting a low hissing noise.
Yeah.
And there was about a half second of panic on your face when you're like, "Oh my God, oh, it's Simon."
Yeah. It was just so odd. I was like, of all the people I was thinking of bumping into, because to be honest, I forgot that you were still in Exeter. And Pixel Girl wasn't feeling too crash hot, I don't think, was she?
It was so funny. We had an hour to kill before our train, and she just was like, "Yeah, I want to do some shopping." And then the hangover hit her, like the asteroid hit the Earth 65 million years ago. She would just walk into a shop, go, "No, I can't do this," and walk out. And we did that about 5 or 6 times. Like, she was so not feeling it, bless her. I for some reason have Wolverine levels of like alcohol processing. I don't think I've had a single hangover in my entire life. Like, I honestly don't know how I've I feel tired from the lack of sleep, but I never get like the headache, the sore throat, the just general sense of impending doom.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I've managed to pretty much kind of phase that out now, because the answer for me is just have at least 3 large glasses of water and I will be right as rain. In fact, I'm putting this to the test because James and I, my housemate, as a Christmas treat, I bought the Harry Potter film collection, and we've been gradually making our way through
on Blu-ray or download.
Download.
No.
And I we watched, I think, about 2 films back to back last night. And as we were doing that, we were gradually working our way through quite a spectacular amount of alcohol. For a quiet night in, it was embarrassing. And while that was all cooking, we had a massive like pork apple cider stew cooking.
Oh yeah.
And it was, oh man, it was delicious. Anyway,
That does
we were
sound
sitting
pretty
there,
great.
and like about 2.5 bottles of wine later, we were starting to kind of wind things down. But we'd gone to M&S earlier that day, and they do these things. I saw it and I was intrigued. It's a little box, and in this box are 2 kind of, like Poirot-esque little coffee glasses.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a latte glass, but in miniature. They have these 2 glasses in there with foil tops, and it's what was it? It was a brandy hot chocolate with cream and stuff. And you take these things, you pierce the foil lid, and you whack them in the microwave for like 45 seconds. And I don't know how they do it, because when it's not heated, it's in like kind of like a gelatinous form. So you can like turn it upside down and it doesn't ruin the layer of chocolate and then the layer of cream to make it look all aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, long story short, we decided to end the night with finishing that other bottle of wine and having these as a treat, like a dessert after. And Jesus, Mother of Mary, Mary, Mother of Jesus, actually. Is probably
Jesus,
the better way
Mother of Mary. Wait a second.
Yeah, that's not right, is it? It was like so strong. James and I were sitting there after each sip, literally just going like after each one. It was mad. We got to about midnight, and I was like, oh, I should probably go because I've got to record the podcast and I don't want to be completely incapacitated. And I've got to sing this thing tomorrow and I want to be fairly good. So I had some water and woke up feeling, right as rain. But my God, it was a very boozy night. But I'm completely fine. So
Nice.
there we go. Happy days. I haven't had my advent calendar yet, though.
Oh, go on. Do you want to open it today?
I'll go and get it. I'm going to go and scamper across. Hang on. Right. Here we are. Here is said advent calendar. It is the 18th. Oh, and it's right bang in the centre. So here we go. A little bit of ASMR for our listeners this morning. This is me. I'm approaching the calendar. I'm piercing the perforated card. Ooh. We're opening. Ooh, there we go. And then if you listen, that's the little gold shimmered salted caramel truffle rattling in its little nest.
That's the most used sentence.
Thanks very much. I do try. And here we go. This is that's the said truffle, and I'll do a very satisfying crunch of it. Okay, you ready? Okay, I need to be careful because the salted caramel stuff inside is very liquidy, and I might just spray salted caramel all over my laptop and microphone. So
this will be good.
Bear with me. Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that good?
Oh, yeah. I'm also... excuse me.
Take your time. It's all right. There's no rush.
Yeah, no, it's fine, all right. I'm savouring it. I've got an entire pot of tea here. I've got into a new habit. Every kind of like the last 5 episodes or so, I've just made sure that I've got a little jug of milk, an entire pot of tea in a cup that I gradually work through about 5 cups of tea throughout the recording of a podcast.
See, I have been wondering whether I could do a similar thing, but instead of having tea, if I could just paint Warhammer whilst we're recording. Because I feel like, because there's no visual aspect to it. I'm wondering if I might just do it one episode and see if you notice.
Yeah.
Also, given our talk of not being completely incapacitated for recording the podcast, maybe we should do that just once. Just do a one-off special episode where we get absolutely trashed and then record the episode.
Why don't we do it for New Year?
Oh my God! No. I'll tell you what. We should do it if people come to the live stream that I'm doing the day this comes out on the Oxcast Twitch. If people donate to the Jingle Jam and say in your donation that you want a boozy Wikicast special, then we'll do it.
Okay.
But people, if you're listening to this and it's the Saturday, then come to the Yogscast Twitch channel and I'll be doing the Jingle Jam. I think it's at 5 p.m, 5 till 8. If you submit a donation, you can give a bunch of money to some really good charities. But if you say that you want a boozy Wikicast special, Dan and I will get trashed one day. And yeah, it probably will be the New Year's episode. and do a Wikicast. So there you go.
Sounds good. I'm absolutely donating to that.
Yeah, yeah, because you want to do it.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, it's a little bit nervous because, like, obviously, I'm kind of new to the whole Yogs family, and they had a guy on yesterday who was a guest, and people didn't really take to him.
Yeah.
And the chat.
Who are you on with? Is it just you?
No, it's not just me. I think it's me, Hannah Witten, Terps, and Lewis.
Okay, so at least you've got, like, Terps and Lewis know you, so they'll be they'll be in it, and so does Hannah, obviously. But, like, I mean, in terms of people watching, they will know that they know you, so they'll probably be less inclined to rip the shit out of you.
And also, I appeared in the Hat Films video that I did, came out on...
Yes, I saw that. In fact,
Saturday.
Excuse me. Mutual friend and I watched that together.
Oh, nice.
It was very good.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with how it came out, actually. I think they cut it down less than I thought they would. So
yeah,
and the reaction from the audience seems to be really positive. So that encourages me when it comes to the live stream. So good. That's good. But also, so I'm going up there a day early. I'm there on Friday to record some Trivial Pursuit with the boys, and I'm not quite sure if we're doing anything else. I think the plan is to do Trivial Pursuit and one or two other things, but yeah. So I am really looking forward to it. And I don't know, just the ability to be on a live stream, and even if it's this late in the month, you're still going to raise several £1,000s for charity. So it's a real privilege to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, God, it's all mental. It's nuts what's happening at the moment. I actually was just looking for an older file because I'm editing the graduation vlog at the moment, and I saw a screenshot that I took in 2016 of Ross from Hat Films having a chat with me on Twitter, and I thought at the time this is nuts. This is the closest I'm ever going to get to Hat Films. This is so crazy. Yeah. And then 2 years later, I'm doing videos with them.
Yeah, on their channel.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely. And Ross said, looking forward to doing some more videos with you next year. So so happy with how that went.
Yeah, it was such a good video. I think it went really well.
Yeah, now the pressure's on to do that again. I've got to be entertaining again. But cool. Oh my god. So let's just return to this article briefly, because we said that we couldn't think of anybody with the name Christmas, and there is a large name, sort of list of names here. I don't really recognise any of these people, but I feel like we should just sort of round out the article before we move on. We've got a guy called Art Christmas. Just an incredible name. He was a Canadian jazz saxophonist.
Oh my god, of course he is. What a legend.
Yeah, right. There was a guy called Eric Christmas, who was a British actor from 1916 to 2000. So imagine a 1940s actor called Eric Christmas. It's just perfect. I'm sorry, what? There was an American mercenary called Lee Christmas. An American mercenary in Central America. Wow, just went around Central America with a bunch of machine guns. Okay. What else have we got? Randy Christmas.
Oh God, that's not allowed. Speaking of Randy Christmas, I've just listened to the My Dad Wrote a Porno Christmas special.
Oh, we listened to that last night as well.
Yeah, very funny.
Santa, but it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Plot twist.
Yes, Randy Christmas is the Dad Wrote a Porno Christmas special. The only one on here who I think I might have known before was Stephen Christmas, who has a blood clotting protein named after him.
Wow.
None of these people are exactly terribly famous.
Clang?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any of these people. And then there are a few fictional ones. There's, for example, in the Expendables, there's Jason Statham's character is called Lee Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah, and also in Dumber and Dumber, there's a character called Lloyd Christmas. I don't know which one that is, but there we go. That's the full article now that we've read. That's one of my favourites we've ever had, though.
That's excellent.
Merry Christmas is amazing. Well, if we're reviewing articles, we really should move on to Critics' Corner. Oh, no, we don't. No, what? We need to know what your choral piece of the week is, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I forgot. And this will be my piece of the week. Drum roll, please. Given that we're approaching midnight mass with every coming day, my choral piece of the week would be, I'd like everyone to go online and find the Jonathan Dove Missa Brevis, because that's what we're singing at midnight mass, and it's going to be absolutely hilarious.
That's not a piece that I would have... Because to me, Midnight Mass is... I don't know. I wouldn't think it would want to be very loud.
Well, yeah, it's meant to be... I think it's meant to be jubilant to an extent, because if it's timed correctly, we should hit the Gloria by about midnight.
Right.
Which is then the day of Christ's birth, right? So it's meant to be like, woohoo! And we know we're out of Advent by that point, which means we can sing the Gloria, and we're not just singing the Kyrie. But it's going to be hilarious for several reasons. One, because it's going to be really well attended with... It's St. Peter's Singers singing it, but it's going to be kind of SPS plus people who are around in Exeter who fancy singing, who might be friends of people in SPS or family or, anything.
Oh, damn, I want to join in now.
Yeah, we're also going to be probably pretty well trolleyed by that point because there's not really going to be much of a...
Not an official position of Exeter Cathedral. This is not official information.
It's going to be quite fun. We'll sing, and that's then followed with Dyson in D for Christmas Day, even song.
Oh, banger!
And the Britain Festival Te Deum, which I haven't sung, but it's really weird. I'm not sure whether I like it.
I know it. No, I don't think I know that.
I was listening to it in the shower this morning. It's interesting.
So the whole Dove Missa Brevis is which has such a huge range in it. Like the Gloria is amazing, but also the Agnus Dei is so mystical.
Yeah, it's an epic piece of music, that's for sure.
Very, very good choice. Big fan of that. Okay, well now let's move on into Critics' Corner.
Actually, just before we do...
reverse that jingle.
What we can do is the Midnight Mass that we're singing, I think that's also being recorded by the BBC.
Oh, cool.
So I've got this one tonight, and I've got this one on thing. So if you want to listen to it live on for Midnight Mass, you can do. We'll provide a link on. I'll do one on my Twitter and the Facebook page closer to the day. But that's quite exciting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, right. Now we're going to go on. Is there any other reason why we can't go into Critics' Corner?
I don't think so. I think we're all good to go.
Okay, let's hit it. Chewie. So, I have something which I've watched for the first time recently, which I'd like to talk about. Have you watched anything recently?
The only thing I've watched recently are the Harry Potter films and the final episode of Dynasties with David Attenborough.
Oh God,
With the tigers.
Pixel Girl's sister came and visited the other day, and
yeah.
Bless her, she just wasn't having a very good day. She was just quite sort of emotional and sad. Yeah. And she was like, I want to watch something. I want to watch Dynasties. And so she put on the Dynasty episode with the penguins.
Oh, no. Why'd you do that?
I know. And I was like, Alice, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Why do you... She was like, no, I want to watch it. Like, all your ideas are shit. And then we sat and she was just bawling. She was just crying her eyes out. And I probably shouldn't have said it, but when it was just like one of the penguins that was dead, like lying face down in the snow on its own, completely isolated, the most bleak looking thing ever. I just leaned over and I was like, oh look, it's your love life.
Oh wow.
She was so we had to stop halfway through Dynasties because she couldn't take it. Jesus. It was just too sad. But
that's intense.
It was a great episode, but just totally not tonally appropriate. No. Well, the thing which I watched for the first time, which I'd like to review, was How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Now, is this the animated one?
No, this is the one with Jim Carrey.
Ah, okay, cool.
The 2000 one. So have you seen this?
I have, yes.
So what do you think of it?
I mean, it's never going to compare to like the animated classic.
Which I've also never seen.
It's really good. But I think, I like it. I think it's it's one of those films that you have to watch at Christmas. It's on the list of. Same with Home Alone, and like Die Hard. You've got to watch at Christmas. I think it's brilliant. I haven't seen it in ages. I haven't watched it this year yet.
Well, that's the funny thing because Pixel Girl loved it as a kid and was like, "We've got to watch it. I really, really want to watch it like now as an adult." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. We can." I was doing. No, I wasn't painting. No, I did watch the whole thing with her. And there's so many adult references in that film that you just don't pick up on as a kid. Like the fact that when the Grinch arrives and like all the babies are sailing down in umbrellas and baskets. The adults are just having a swingers party, and there's just like a little subtle reference in there. There's quite a few of those for the adults, and I was like, oh my god, they actually got away with quite a lot with this film.
Yeah.
But I mean, the standout thing is like I love Jim Carrey in it. Like it's just so him.
Yeah, he's so. I mean, this is the thing. I have a kind of like a weird relationship with Jim Carrey because there are performances that you see with him and you go, that's brilliant. And like you're as a character actor, you are absolutely superb. And the things he can do with his body and his face are
He's
incredible.
elastic. Yeah, it's incredible.
There are other things where he'll do something and his performance is just so grating and annoying and a caricature of himself that I find it really hard to watch. But I've watched, I forget what it's called. I think it's called, there was a documentary about him making the film Man on the Moon, where, I think it might be something like that. Hang on, I need to fact check this because I could be completely wrong.
I think I know the one you mean. This is the one, well, Man on the Moon, that was the one about
Andy Kaufman. Yeah. And then there's a documentary on Netflix about him making this film and this is a thing that Jim Carrey does where when he kind of becomes a character like this, and it's the same when he did this character, it's the same when he did the Grinch, it's the same when he does any of these ones where it really just takes him over. He talks about how he basically he's not Jim Carrey anymore, he is a different person and just gets so deep into this character that it's just insane. It's almost like being super method, but it's not because he doesn't feel like he has any control over it.
He's literally, it's like a hostile takeover of his body.
Yeah, absolutely. He just completely, he channels this other person and becomes the other person.
Oh my God. I just saw something on his Wikipedia page. He's going to be in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's out next year.
Oh my God.
He's Dr. Robotnik.
That's going to be superb.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be trash.
I know, but that's why it's going to be superb.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that I really wanted, though, is I thought he would have been a really interesting guy to have done his take of the genie in Aladdin.
Yes, yeah.
He would have been super at that.
I do think that the decision to give it to Will Smith, I think that could actually really work. Like, I believe that could work, but I do totally agree he would have been... Because in many ways, he's in the same ballpark as Robin Williams. Like, yeah. Because he can also do very serious acting in the same way that Robin Williams did Good Will Hunting, Jim Carrey did...
Eternal Sunshine on a Spotless Mind.
Exactly, yeah. And he has done occasional films like that. I mean, it is definitely best when he's playing The Mask or Ace Ventura or The Grinch or these films where he is just so lost in the character. Yeah, I mean, in The Grinch he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Truman Show, that was the other one. He actually won Golden Globes for The Truman Show and Man on the Moon. Wow. Yeah, so I was wondering, because basically I thought it was fun. It wasn't, I didn't think it was a good film. Like, I think it was quite kind of enjoyable, and especially if you're a kid, it's so zany and like wacky, and there's so many things that adults can enjoy as well. So it's quite well constructed in that sense. I didn't think it was a good screenplay at all. I thought, but like, you know, whatever, it was enjoyable. But we're going to try and make our way through Christmas films, I think, this week. So I really want to watch Jingle All the Way. Which I've seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
I've seen half of in a bar in Birmingham when I was really quite drunk. So I remember it being really funny, but I was really drunk at a bar in Birmingham. So who knows?
You should watch. You should watch The Holiday with Pixel Girl.
Oh God, the American Love Actually. We've already watched Love Actually.
It's actually quite endearing, and it's not riddled with just stupid, cheesy moments like Love Actually is. It's quite good.
Like, I found myself, because we watched that first. That was the first Christmas film. Well, no, the first Christmas film we watched this year was The Nightmare Before Christmas, which was just after Halloween. But I found myself watching half of Love Actually because I was doing some editing first, and I found myself enjoying myself, and I was like, oh, God, I feel dirty. Like, because the thing is, it is an enjoyable film to watch. It's just bad. I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of emails about this. But it is just a bad movie. Like, as you say, it's so cheesy.
Just looking up The Holiday, it's written by and directed by Nancy Myers. She did The Intern, Something's Got to Give, It's Complicated, The Parent Trap, loads of stuff. But the music in The Holiday is Hans Zimmer.
Now, that doesn't fill me with I mean, like, he's anybody's. Hans Zimmer is anybody's slut for enough money. I mean, like, okay, I'll give. We might have to give it a go. I mean, to be fair, there's only so many days actually that we can watch Christmas movies left. It's like a Christmas in a week, Dan. It's nuts.
It's got Kate Winslet in it, which means it's always worth watching because she's just absolutely superb. Yeah. Jack Black's character is really, really good and not a caricature of himself. He's actually quite good, as is Jude Law. And Cameron Diaz is annoying, but she's annoying anyway.
I really rate Jack Black, actually, as an actor. Like, it's similar to Jim Carrey. Like, he obviously can do those incredible, over-the-top, like, Tropic Thunder or Tenacious D and, like, these unbelievable characters. But equally, I think he can actually be quite a good, just solid actor. I also just quite like him. I just get the vibe. You know, when you see certain celebrities, just like, I feel like we'd be friends. Yeah. Like, I definitely get that from Jack Black. I get that from Terry Crews. I'd really like to hang out with Terry Crews. I think that'd be awesome. But what are the other Christmas films then? Do you think? What are the essential ones that we should watch? Because obviously you're going to say Home Alone. Home Alone
it's such a Christmas film.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what are the ones that I watch.
I mean, I definitely want to watch Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
But I know that Pixel Girl isn't terribly keen on that, but I'm determined to break her down.
Oh, there's Elf. Have you seen Elf?
No, I've never seen Elf.
It's Will Ferrell. It's actually quite good.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that he's in that I'm like, actually, I can tolerate that. Polar Express.
Oh, no. That's a no from me.
I kind of like it.
If I want to fall down the uncanny valley, I'll watch Rogue One.
Yeah, fair.
Arthur Christmas. Have you seen that? Because that's the Aardman one. I feel like I'd probably quite like it.
Yeah, I have seen that, actually. It is good.
Okay. I feel like we're missing some really... Die Hard, I still have never seen Die Hard, and this is probably the right time of year to watch it.
You should go on a bit of a Jim Carrey sesh, and have you seen his A Christmas Carol?
No.
So this is a CG one. Again, it's a bit uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Because it's 2009, but he plays every single... he plays Scrooge and all three ghosts.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds very Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it's quite good, actually.
See, the one that I'm quite keen to watch is, and one that nobody seems to talk about anymore, is Scrooged, which is the one with Bill Murray as Scrooge, and he's it's like a modern retelling in that he is a TV executive.
Oh yeah.
I've never watched it, but it's one of those things that I saw a thing on Imager about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that film exists. So I might have to give that a go.
I haven't seen that.
But I feel like it's one of the more alternative Christmas movies, basically. Actually, hang on. It does actually say it has appeared on various lists of the best Christmas movies ever made. Empire Best Christmas Movies.
The only thing that makes me think of Scrooged is I remember sitting in a restaurant once. It was me, my mum, and my two brothers, and it was around Christmas. And one of my brothers, I described someone as being a bit of a Scrooge, and my brothers were quite young at the time, and they said, "What's that?" And I looked over to mum to be like, "Right, you can take this one. Explain who Scrooge is." And mum said, and deadly seriously, she said, Scrooge is a character from the musical Scrooged by William Shakespeare. And I just looked at her and went, no. She went, what? And I'm like, Charles Dickens, Christmas Carol. She went, oh yeah.
Was that her trying to be funny, or was that
I don't know.
Classic parenting? Just like, I'm going to make this up.
I think it's probably a mixture of everything. But it was just such great. She was completely deadpan. Like, yeah, Scrooged, William Shakespeare musical. It was great. It was one of the first musicals. It's like, Mum, no.
Amazing. So I've got this list up of the best Christmas movies. I'm just going to quickly run them down. Apparently, Brazil is a Christmas movie because it takes place at that time of year.
What is that film?
That's the one that Terry Gilliam directed. And it's about the guy whose life gets ruined because of a typo in a form. And it's like quite Orwellian. Like, it's because it's Terry Gilliam. Like, it's nuts. Everything I've seen from it looks absolutely mental. But I'll have to add that to my little list. Home Alone 2, The Polar Express, nope. Jingle All the Way, good to see. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. A Charlie Brown Christmas. I used to read Peanuts when I was a kid. Like, my dad had a few books. He had Asterix and Obelix and Charlie Brown, like Peanuts, like A5 books, versions of all the cartoons. So I've read them, but no desire to see it. The Santa Claus, the one with Tim Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Which I only know because I think there was an advert for it on my VHS of Toy Story. And I've never seen the film, but I've seen that advert about 50 times. Love Actually. Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale. What? Oh, it's like Troll Hunter. The blurb for this reads, "The good news is that Santa exists. The bad news is that he's much more concerned about punishing naughty children in nasty ways than with providing rewards for those who have been good. This Finnish cracker sees the big man disinterred from the grave he's been trapped in for centuries by ill-advised scientists, only to escape and go on a reindeer killing spree. Wow, a family of local reindeer herders managed to trap the monstrous Kris Kringle, but what about when his loyal elves come to look for him?"
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm good.
Okay, below that...
Oh, I've just remembered an absolute classic that my family always watches.
Yeah?
The animated version of The Snowman by Raymond Briggs.
Funny you should say that, because that is on this list. I'm looking at it right now, and we always watch it as well. Though I always find it so sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I always find there's something really melancholy and eerie about the art style too.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's kind of creepy.
It's a bit... It's just very English, you know? It's quite hard to define, but it's very possibly because it's just been used by Waitrose for like everything, every Christmas.
Yeah, because they've done loads, haven't they? There's the Snowman and the Snow Dog.
Yeah, they did a sequel not long ago, actually, didn't they?
Yeah, and they did the Father Christmas, because I used to have the books, and there's like Father Christmas when he goes on holiday. You know that one?
I didn't know that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Below that, you got a Mickey's Christmas Carol, White Christmas, the Bing Crosby one. Miracle on 34th Street. The one there's the original, which is 1947, and then there's Richard Attenborough's one in 1994, where there's like the lawsuit against him. A Christmas Story, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Edward Scissorhands. What?
Oh yeah, that is a Christmas film.
Oh, all right. Lethal Weapon.
You know that? You know the what was I watching the other day? It was a Game Grumps thing. It was a 10-minute power hour, and they did the Hanukkah. Have you seen that video?
Oh no, I haven't.
Oh well, it's quite funny. It's worth a watch. Anyway, there's this bit where they kind of like nostalgically sing this tune, and it's like bum 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 bum, and that's from Edward Scissorhands. It's like it's a piece of music that's used in loads of like piss take videos all the time.
Oh right, I had no idea that he was Wow, I had no idea that was a Christmas movie. I'm gonna have to add that to my little list. Also, yeah, Lethal Weapon. I had no idea that was a Christmas one. Home Alone, Elf.
Yeah.
Bad Santa, absolutely not. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, a movie I've always wanted to watch, but is it? Oh, apparently it's a Christmas movie because there's a Santa outfit in it. Okay. Batman Returns, also, that is not a Christmas movie. Kind of, I suppose. Scrooged is near the top of this list. The Nightmare Before Christmas is at the top. Trading Places, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Gremlins. Really? I've never seen Gremlins.
I've never seen Gremlins.
Apparently it's the most festive of monster movies, so I'll have to give that a go. And that's a classic, isn't it? Like, everybody... Oh yeah, it was produced by Spielberg, that was it. It's a Wonderful Life, again, not actually seen that. I probably should watch it this year. And then at number one, it's Die Hard.
Yeah.
So no surprises there. But God, there's so many that I haven't watched. Oh my God, I've just been rewatching A Muppet Christmas Carol. It's gonna be interesting this Christmas, actually, because I feel like I'm now much more part of Pixel Girl's family, and we're actually spending the day like we did last year with her family, and eating way too much food because her aunt is a trained chef.
Nice.
And it's going to be amazing. And then we get a second Christmas when we come back to my house. But it's always interesting to see all those different traditions that are just like slightly different the way that other people do it. Like the order, like in my house at home, we always do like stockings in bed, and then breakfast, and then presents, and then a walk, and then we don't really have a lunch. We have it as like a Christmas dinner. And
same.
then watch TV. Whereas like for Pixel Girl, like presents happen at different times. Like we do tree presents as well in the evening. I don't think they did that last year.
In our family, we would normally do stockings either in bed, or everyone goes downstairs into the lounge in pajamas. And then I remember being violently told off by my mother for declining a glass of we had a glass of bubbly at like 10. It got to like 10 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, that's fine, that's early enough now. We're allowed to drink. And I'd been to the pub with Dad the night before and wasn't feeling super fresh, and I said I might not have one,
and the mum was like, take the champagne, you pussy bitch.
Mum's like, off, Dan. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then we're allowed to open one big present from under the tree before a certain time, and then you've got to wait for the others. You've got to wait until like 11 or 12 before to open the rest. And then the same. We kind of like snacky pecky stuff through the day, and then we have the big Christmas dinner closer to kind of like late evening, you know.
So we do our stockings, and I have slightly embarrassing to admit this because I'm a 28-year-old man and I'm quite big. But I still get into my parents' bed to open stockings. Yeah. So it's like it's obviously like a double bed. So it's built for two people, not two normal sized people, and then me.
And their adult son.
Yeah, fully adults, like clambering in the middle of the bed. Because I've always gone in the middle. Because like ever since I was a small kid, like you just nestled in between them, and it's really cute. And now I'm just like. It's like when you see Disney's Hercules, like they've got the two quite small parents and then like enormous son by comparison. But yeah, I
guess we would have done that, but obviously I have two siblings, so they would have reached a point where logistically that wouldn't work.
Yeah,
we never actually had stockings as such either. We had like they were like a sack, like a same size as a stocking, but it was like a big drawstring bag with or like mine was. I think my brothers Joe and Ollie had things that resembled stockings more, right. But mine was like a red drawstring bag.
Empty your sack.
Yeah, absolutely, into my waiting arms. But it's really nice. I've actually got presents to open. So my Christmas Day is going to be kind of underwhelming. I'm gonna get up really early and open one of my presents from under the tree, and then I'm going to leave the rest, and I'm going to go and shower, get changed, then I have to head over to Exeter Cathedral School because they were asking for some help for people to carry over some food and things and help with the choristers. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go and kind of like chaperone for a bit. And then there's a load of other stuff happening in the afternoon, but I said I don't want to do that. So I'll just go over and do like this half an hour in the morning, then come back, open some of my presents. And I think I've been invited to random members of the clergy because they know that some choral scholars aren't going home. So I'm going to the noons and then Colonel Mustard's for drinks and things, and which would be quite nice. And then getting ready for all the services, you know.
Yeah, well, because you actually have an active role to play on
yeah,
Christmas
I will
Day.
have 4 services on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Whereas I just have a lot of active eating to do. Like I can't emphasize enough how strong a showing I put in last year. In that I ate, I'd say pretty solidly 3 people's worth of food.
Yeah.
Which you've lived with me, so you know that is absolutely not an exaggeration. No. And apparently they've sort of like made a Simon allowance this year. They've bought quite a lot more food. So I might have to undertake an exercise program for my stomach in the run up to Christmas, and just like do a lot of running the day before, and have a lot of water and make sure I'm really hungry, because it's so good, Dan. The food is incredible. Juanita, if you're listening to this, you're an unbelievable chef. And Mike, because her husband does the nut roast for me, while she does the like goose in a turkey and a pig or whatever it is that some incredible concoction of meat that I can't eat. But well,
James and I are doing our Christmas meal because James goes home on Thursday. He's going back down to Truro, so we're doing our Christmas meal for the house tomorrow evening. So we need to go out and choose a roast beast. I'm still determined to eat a fucking swan, though. I'm really I just want to eat one so I can say that I have, It's really,
if you're a member of the royal family and listening to this, help Dan out.
Yeah.
I mean,
or John's College, Cambridge.
Or if you're John Rutter and you're listening to this.
If one of your injured swans doesn't make it through this harsh winter, send it to me. And I'll make sure it's disposed of humanely.
I want that shirt, Dan. I really, really want that shirt.
Yeah, I know.
It's the fact that you said you were going to do it. I'm just going to keep pestering you until it's finished.
Yeah. I mean, I do sit down and have time to do it, but it's just this weird time of year where I think that I've got times free, and then I'll get a message being like, "Oh, can you come and sing this thing?" Or I was nearly singing yesterday. That's why I preemptively said, "Can we not record yesterday.
Right.
Because there was some Christmas reception and they were like, oh, they need a singer. I was like, okay, what does it entail? Basically, how much is the fee? And they're like, oh, it's like 30 quid. I'm like, yeah, no.
That's a no from me. Like,
Yeah.
it's astonishing how much, I won't say who it was, but there was somebody who I was drinking with the other day who had received a £95 fee for a single evening of not terrible, like relatively difficult, but not terribly difficult music. Mm-hmm. I was just like, Jesus, like...
It's pretty incredible, really. I mean, I usually, anything... The DEP fee at Exeter Cathedral's just gone up, which is quite nice. For people who DEP, obviously, it doesn't make a difference to me, because I don't DEP anymore. But there was a period of time where I didn't realise that for 2 concerts and a Messiah, each one was getting a separate fee, and each fee wasn't, like, measly in the slightest, so it's quite nice. Yeah. Oh, and Truro Cathedral are looking for a tenor lay clerk.
Oh, that'd be a nice place to be.
£17,000, I think. No.
They're looking for a lay clerk who weighs £17,000.
I'm trying to remember how much no, it's less than that.
Well, good. I mean, it was going to break the seats otherwise.
I think it's 40. I think I forget how much, because I was reading through the application. It's not a bad amount of money, to be fair.
Okay.
And the lay clerks get 2 nights off a week.
The bastards.
I don't understand how that works. There's no day at Exeter where the lay clerks aren't singing.
I thought they didn't sing on Saturdays.
Except for Saturdays, yeah. That's just choristers. But like lay clerks on their own, because like lay clerks and choral scholars, there is no back row on a Saturday. But the kids still sing. 2 days in Truro.
They do just treble stuff on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
So they alternate boys and girls each day.
Because the boys and girls, each choir does what then? 2 or 3 services a week? 3
usually. And then the choral scholars sing every day except for Saturdays. But then sometimes we do sing on Saturdays, and then if it's not Saturdays, it might be St. Peter's Singers, in which case choral scholars sing again anyway. So this term, we basically haven't had a Saturday off. It's been mad, which means it's been a service every day, which is why they've changed it. So originally we were meant to be singing this week, but they changed it so that we got the time off just to chill, which is quite nice. So I can hopefully get over this cough before the massive push of music.
God, I mean, in case you couldn't tell, guys, we sing.
Quite a lot.
just to put that one out there. Dan sings much more than me nowadays, but I still need to find a choir. But yes, that's why we talk about this stuff so much. We have been talking about this for almost an hour, you realise.
Oh, God.
Right, should we move on to Patreon Corner?
Yeah, let's do it.
Top lad. Do you want me to do it, or do you want
to? I can do it.
Yeah, go on.
Squeak? What was that?
Oh, sorry, that's my chair. That wasn't just be like, yeah, go on.
Yeah. I was just curious as to what it was. It was very odd.
Can I make it do it again? Hang on.
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, is that Simon Lane? Are you here? Wait a minute.
Yeah. Amazing. Right, here we go. Stop it. So we find ourselves again. Stop it! We find ourselves again in Patreon Corner. This is the moment in the podcast where we'd like to say a massive thank you to all our patrons at www.patreon.com/the Wikicast.
We remembered to say it.
We are so professional. This particular part of the podcast, however, we would like to say a massive thank you to our top lads. These amazing people donate $5 each month to ensure the longevity of this podcast. Speaking of longevity, we've actually been doing really well in doing like successive episodes.
Yeah, we have actually.
Quite good.
Better than previously, for sure.
Yeah. When we might just be absent for like a month. But yes, we're here. Your donations mean so much. They allow this podcast to actually remain present. Our hosting requires money, and the money that you give is hugely helpful in that. We also do a weekly or an episode a monthly donation to Wikipedia because again we need Wikipedia more than you'd think. and just kind of general kind of maintenance and admin and kind of merchandise and if Simon and I are travelling to go and see each other to do some stupid video, which you can guarantee we do semi-regularly, then we use that money to aid us in travelling and kind of various other expenses and things. So a massive thank you to our top lads. So without further ado, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Ben Dent, Ben McMurtry and Billy Toulson.
I'd like to thank Bryce D. Wilkins, Chucker Cat and Connor Levers. A
big Christmassy thank you to Dan Havey. Dan Havey?
Dan Havey?
I don't know. What the is going on? I think it's because underneath is... Yeah, anyway. Dan Hanvey, Davy Schram Vonterbell and Elliot Conway.
I'd like to thank Schmerich Snavis.
Shut up.
Habiba Amjad and Henry Brewster.
Isabel Ostrowski, Jay Wright and John Mannion.
Geordie Eschendahl, Kyle Much, Lachlan Woods.
Lewis Watson, Maggie and Marut Vakira Punyawat.
Matt Maguire, Fee Gascoigne and Rory Healy.
The Moustache Man, Simon Torseth and...
No, say his name. Say his name.
Sorry, Simon Clark.
And then last but by no means least, Whitney Fairies and the wonderful Stephen. Thank you all so much. Top lad, we have a message from Google, Dan.
I believe we do, yeah. Google is a regular contactor of the podcast. And we've got a special little message here. Google has emailed through saying, changes to our terms of service and private policy. I'm going to summarise this email because it's dull as sin. But basically, Google wants us to let us know, and by extension, all you readers out there, that they're soon going to be publishing changes to our terms of service, and this may affect the Google services that we and you use. This is going to be starting on January 22nd, and it's going to be affecting many various different Google-owned institutions: Drive, Play, YouTube paid service.
This is Article 13 proofing themselves, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have some other emails as well, Dan.
We do, thankfully. We've got an email here from Ben Dent, who we thanked, I believe, very recently in our Patreon Top Lad.
We did indeed.
Thank yous. So Ben's emailing in. His subtitle is Musings, and he says... Dear Messrs Moore and Clark, it seems that I have somewhat of controversial opinion. I saw The Crimes of Grindelwald the other week. Oh my God, I'm scared what you're going to say here, Ben. Okay, I'm going to get very serious now.
I know the noise you're going to make, Dan. Let's give you this. Yeah? Oh, didn't do it that time. I f***ed it.
Oh no. Okay, he says, it seems that I have a somewhat controversial opinion. I saw The Crimes of Grindelwald the other week and must confess that both I and the friend I saw it with greatly enjoyed it. Although it must be said that both she and I tend to enjoy most films, I do, however, agree with Dan on the annoyance of the overturning of well-established law in this film. Despite this, we were both still entertained. Oh, Ben. Ben, what are you doing?
How could this happen to me?
They ask you if you're fine and you just got to say, no, you're not. I'm continuing to greatly enjoy Simon's explorations into the world of being a cam girl, always accompanied with great music. By the way, Simon, the Chapel Choir CD definitely should be made available electronically. It's too good to waste. This week I had my December tests for my final year of uni. The first one went well, I think, and I've yet to take the others. There is one that I'm worried about due to the complexity of the material, but at least these only contribute to the coursework mark for the year. I am continually grateful to the quality of non-content in this digest and the excellent videos on Simon's channel, as they, along with my two close friends from uni, have been getting me through this difficult first term.
What?
I said uni, and my voice went, so I just thought I'd, rather than give you the opportunity to rub it in,
that broke
in
me.
editing. There you go. Keep up the good work, boys. Ben Dent, of the off variety.
So,
thanks, Ben.
How do you react to that then, Dan? I mean, saying that they enjoyed the film and that, it was only mildly annoying, the overturning of established law.
I'm conscious of not wanting to sound like a Harry Potter elitist, and one of the good things about any kind of criticism is that everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But Ben can get fucked and he's wrong. Okay, so the next email we have is from... No, I'm kidding. That's fine. If you were entertained, Ben, that's cool. I am still very, very bitter about it. You might be able to tell.
I still haven't seen it because I just have no desire to. Like, I've yet to hear a single thing which has made me want to see this film. It's not because I know that it's not going to be so bad it's good. It's not going to be the room of Harry Potter. Just no desire to see it whatsoever. We didn't go to see Mortal Engines, by the way. I still need to go and see that. But yeah, Ben, I mean, I am currently in a superposition of being with you and not being with you because I have yet to make an observation. So, don't know. Although, yes, I do agree the Chapel Choir CD should be made available electronically. I am not the person to talk to about that. I might pop a message to Michael and ask. Because
we got close. I did quite a lot of work in it, but I needed to get some banking details to file for a US tax number. Because that's what you need to put it up onto iTunes, and nothing happened. So it will happen at some point.
Was that for Chapel or was that for Wikicast?
That was Chapel.
Okay. Because the
Wikicast, we didn't need anything for putting the podcast up onto iTunes because there's no paid element. As soon as you do anything that requires money through iTunes, you need to have a US tax number.
But paid, because I know that Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet is on Spotify. At least I'm pretty sure it is. I think it is possible to get a podcast on as a small fry like we are. But I know that it is more difficult than other ways.
I want to see if this is right because I did quite a bit of yeah, it is on there. How the f*** did he do that?
I can always message and ask.
Yeah, because I get your podcast. How to get your podcast on Spotify with Podbean?
Oh,
what the f***?
Were you making your life way more difficult for yourself than you needed to?
Well, because Podbean's our host. You can request for Podbean to submit the podcast for distribution. Okay, yeah, we've submitted it, so we might come up.
That was way easier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so at some point, hopefully, Podbean's just emailed me. Thanks for submitting your podcast to be distributed on Spotify. We'll be working with our Spotify representative on board your content. We'll let you know when everything's set up. Sick. So, hey, maybe by the next podcast, we might be officially on Spotify.
That was so much easier than you made me believe it would be.
Well, I didn't realise. I'm sure that, I don't know. Maybe that's something, because I know Podbean has changed their kind of layout and just the way their website works has changed. Because when we first started this, which in fairness was well over a year ago.
Yeah, it probably has changed.
You used to have to contact Podbean and they would approve you themselves rather than going through a distributor.
Right.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully that works.
Then lastly, we have an email from Grace Carter, who says, help needed, but not Crisis Corner. So, an interesting one. Dear Messrs. Moore and Clark. Sorry, when I was saying that, I don't know if you could visualize it, but I put my finger up and I was like, but... Wait, you can't see that. Dear Messrs. Moore and Clark, I need your help. I have just booked surgery for the 22nd of January. Due to a chronic illness, I need extensive abdominal surgery. It's a 4 to 8 week recovery period, possibly more, and some of that will be strict bed rest. So I was hoping you could recommend things to read, watch, and listen to. All recommendations welcome. Happy holidays, Grace. Good grief.
Wow. Well, firstly, I mean, best of luck for the
going into the human garage. That's pretty heavy stuff. I mean, 8 weeks. God, I mean, obviously, I'd rather you than me. I don't think anyone's going to willingly say, you know what, I really fancy abdominal surgery. That sounds really fun. But okay, right. What are your recommendations, Dan? What should Grace be listening to and reading in bed?
I'm trying to think of it to kind of what would be fitting at that time of year.
Well, so it's just after Christmas. It's going to be around, January, February.
I've mentioned before, there's some really excellent documentaries on Netflix. I think there's some really solid stuff there, and you can squeeze quite a bit of time out of that. So the salt, fat, acid, heat thing I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, that's really good. Blackfish, about SeaWorld and the mistreatment of killer whales. There's Chef's Table, I always really, really like. I'm quite a keen kind of amateur home cook. I really like cooking, so if that's not up your Strasser, then I apologise, but I think it's really cool. It's also Chef's Table is beautifully shot. It's just stunning. The production value on it is just insane. As far as books go, Sapiens I'll always recommend. I reread that recently because it's just fascinating.
What did you make of it on the reread? Did it change how you enjoyed it?
No, not at all, actually. I found, because it's so chock full of information. I read it a second time and suddenly took things away that I didn't take away on the first read.
Right.
I actually referenced it in an essay I wrote recently about Roman coinage and just the nature of collecting coins and the nature of money and currency and gold. And I got quotes from Cortez.
Have you read Homo Deus? Because that's
no, I haven't yet.
It's staring at me at the moment. It's sat judging me because I haven't started reading it yet.
Yeah, I really need to get on and finish On the Steps of Grand's, that Grand Central Station one I sat down and wept?
Yep, it's on my Goodreads now, so it's in there.
I need to finish that. I'm also waiting for my housemate, James, to finish reading A Christmas Carol, because I want to start that very soon. And I've made a rule that I'm only going to read like a chapter each time, and I'm going to read like a chapter a night when it's dark, sitting near the Christmas tree. And I want to have like a proper little Christmassy sesh. That should be quite nice. Other than that, I've got some quite cool things to crack on with reading for my dissertation and my script writing module next term, but that's probably not strictly applicable. Read, watch, and listen to. I don't know if you've come across the Stephen Fry audiobooks, Harry Potter. They're quite good. I listen to them on and off, and
I've heard you mention them. Yeah.
Speaking of Stephen Fry, he's also done the audiobook for Mythos. Which has been stupidly successful. I know Ed Dunn, another reader of the podcast, who everyone knows. He's listened to it, and I've listened to snippets when he used to live here, and it's excellent. Likewise with his narrating of the entire, like the complete works of Sherlock Holmes. That's really, really cool.
Just to jump in, because I mentioned this to you. Do you listen to Song Exploder? Because I can't remember if you said you did or not.
No.
So right, this is an excellent podcast, which is an absolute must if you are a fan of any kind of music. Because it basically breaks down a song, and that could be a popular song or a piece of music. Like, for example, Johan Johansson did one for Arrival. The music for Arrival, and the host basically introduces it, and then about 80% of the episode is the composer or the artist explaining how, from the ground up, how they built the song and what like creative processes, like how they got to it. So the one I just listened to was "Go Your Own Way" from Fleetwood Mac. And talking about the background of the song, but then also how they chose the instruments, all the key creative decisions, basically, how they arrived at all the finished product. And then once you've heard all of that, you hear the song, and it's like hearing it for the first time. And they've done one for some of the music from the Avengers. They've done it for some video game stuff. They've done it. Loads of it is like quite indie pop stuff, but also more interesting artists. Like Arcade Fire did one recently. Really, that sounds good. Very, very much recommend that. That one is on Spotify. Another podcast is, we've already mentioned My Dad Wrote a Porno. If you haven't listened to that, you absolutely should, because it's excellent. So fun. I
was just thinking, actually, if you're looking for some good recommendations in terms of podcasts, our mutual friend and guest on this podcast, Tom Zalatni, he's doing Podvent on his Twitter. If you go to his, it's at Tom Zalatni, N-A-I at the end there, not just N-I. You can scroll through his feed, and each day he's been featuring a different podcast he listens to, and that's quite a good way. I've come across some more myself. I also had a week ago. One of my guilty pleasures is going back and rewatching the playlists for the Crash Course series. So ancient history, American history, biology. Because I used the biology ones so much for my IB bio. But I love American history, and they're really cool. They're just generally really interesting to watch, and you can consume them in little snippets, and you can almost treat them as podcasts. You just have to kind of sit and listen away.
On similar veins, two that I'd like to recommend from Radio 4 are In Our Time, which we mentioned before.
Absolutely.
And History of the World in 100 Objects, which is the little bite-sized bits. They're all objects from the British Museum, and it's fascinating. So good.
The other thing about In Our Time too is there's the general In Our Time, and then there's also ones that are broken down by subject.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's In Our Time history, there's In Our Time philosophy, In Our Time, so that's worth, if you've got a particular subject area you're keen on, go to that specific thread of In Our Time podcast.
And then two more briefly would be Sparks and Quarks. by two readers of the podcast, Danvi and Adam, which is really good. Like, I'm not just suggesting that because we're, nepotist, but I actually really enjoyed listening to it. And then also one which I've only recently discovered, thanks to my friend Claire, who's also a reader, is The Good Place has a podcast where they break down each episode and they bring on a creative, which could be an actor or a writer or a director, and they talk about how they went about writing, producing, and post-producing.
This is this really good Netflix series you were talking about.
Yeah, which you don't like at all. But what's interesting to me is they will then talk about the philosophy aspects of it. And it's, I don't know, I think that's really interesting. That'd be podcasts. Cool. Reading, I just finished rereading A Brief History of Time, and I'd absolutely recommend it to anyone who's interested in science. Just trying to think. If you want something nice and long to read, Game of Thrones would be a good choice. The Gaunt's Ghost series, if you'd like some sci-fi. I need to read more of them. The Ian M. Banks books. What's the Culture series? That's what they're called. And then slightly oddball recommendation from me, but I really, really, really enjoyed the Arnold Schwarzenegger autobiography. I thought that was one of the most interesting books I've read in a long time, because he's just such an interesting person, regardless of what you think of like his sort of personal life, and he's done a lot of questionable things. Like it was just so interesting. It was just a really, really interesting book.
A similar vein, actually. If you haven't read any Noam Chomsky, there's some really excellent collections of his various essays or transcribed lectures. The Essential Chomsky is one that's really good. Knowledge and Power. I've read both of those now, and they're super. I
still need to read them. Yeah,
they're fascinating. They really are. And controversially, and I believe I've mentioned this before, Russell Brand wrote a book ages ago called Revolution. I read that when I was in like year 11 or 12 at school, I think. And however you feel about Russell Brand, it's well worth a read. It's really interesting. It poses some really interesting ideas. And what's fascinating is that he's done most of the actual work himself, but not obviously the writing, but actually going out and finding experts in various different fields and just having really sincere conversations with them. It's a really good book. It's probably one of the best. How would you classify that kind of novel? Because it's not. It's not a novel, but I mean, like a. It's not an autobiography. It's one of the most interesting pieces of non-fiction.
Wow.
Written by a celebrity I've ever read. I
mean, I find him an interesting person. I feel like I probably disagree with a lot of what's going on in the book, but like, it'd be interesting.
I'm not sure about that, actually.
Yeah?
I think you'd read it and you'd probably go, you know what? Actually, fair point. That's a really good idea. It's not him saying kind of like, don't vote and we'll change the system this way. And it's very much kind of like how to bring about political and sociocultural change in a way that is non-destructive, passive, in terms of it's not like rioting and marching on the street and stuff like that, but it's genuinely a really interesting, very, very well written book. He often can come across as a bit overly like grandiloquent in interviews, and I think that can work against him quite a lot of the time. But when he's presenting himself in a written medium, you really realise that he's got an incredible brain and a real sense of kind of good voice, good like written voice. It's well worth reading. So that's Revolution by Russell Brand.
Is that enough to keep you going, Grace?
It should be enough there. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we just absolutely bombarded you with stuff now. Cool. Okay. Just to reiterate what Dan said, best of luck for the surgery. I hope that you feel better soon. And
we'll be thinking of you.
Yeah, and a very Merry Christmas. I hope that you can enjoy Christmas food without needing additional abdominal surgery, because I probably will. So, Simon, that's right, isn't it? That is my name, yes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just making sure I got the right bit of the outro. God, it's that you wouldn't tell it's our like 50-second episode or something. Yeah. So, Simon, what have we learnt today? Well, it's Daniel, right? Yeah, that's me. Hi. What's this podcast again? Why are we here? We've been talking about Christmas, parentheses, surname. A fairly uncommon surname. There are at least 50 people over the past 170 years who have been called Merry Christmas. I still can't read that and not laugh. This article definitely written by someone where English wasn't their first language. And we had a great time talking about this Christmas, but also our own Christmases and what we've been up to recently, my graduation. If you want us to do a boozy Wikicast where we get trolleyed and then try and record an episode, then do donate to the Jingle Jam, which hopefully, unless it gets cancelled, I will be appearing on the day this comes out, on the Saturday. And say in your donation that you want one. And then what else are we talking? We talk about a lot about music, about Christmas films.
The Grinch, we had Home Alone, we had Die Hard, obviously. A pretty extensive list, actually. And an embarrassingly long conversation about the nature of Christmas and music and life in general. We just had a bit of a ramble, I think, which is always nice.
Yes.
We try and keep this podcast kind of concise and at least vaguely on topic. But every now and then we can't help if we go on a bit of a ramble. No. Because it's just good fun, isn't it?
We just get carried away, guys. Like, we just enjoy doing this.
Yeah, we had a big thank you to our top lads. We had some correspondence from Google and Ben too. Which was lovely to hear from.
I just like saying his name. I really enjoy hearing from him because his name's just fun. Bendant. Jesus.
And that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. We might even be on Spotify soon. You can like us on Facebook, and if you like our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Reports of Merry Christmases and Happy New Year's can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole, and we'll see you next time. Merry Crimbus. Happy Chrysler.
Merry Christmas.
Jesus.